Hello everybody, Andy from Glass Half Dead here, and today I'm doing a video about Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team Ashes of Faith, the first narrative expansion for Kill Team, but specifically this is the Inquisitorial Agent review. Overview, we will find out, I guess. And I would like to say that this is a match play focus. I'm not going to be talking about their narrative at all, although if we do get to their narrative rules, so be it. Who am I to not flick through those pages? I would also like to say that thank you to GW for sending me this box, although they get no oversight or tell me what to say about this product. So let's dive in, shall we? First things first, for those of you unaware of this team, this is an interesting team for two reasons. I would say, if you want a kind of overall general view, firstly is for the kit bash potential of this team. They are such interesting models with interesting archetypes, but also very clear and thematic. So whether you want to use the team you get in the box or don't get in the box, if you can't, you know, let's be honest, being able to get a box these days is a little bit spotty. You will be able to kit bash it, and honestly, I think that some of the models in this box, in this team specifically, are a little bit mediocre compared to what GW has done in the past. So I would actually, you know, I'm just saying it, I would actually highly, strongly recommend just making your own kit bashes. There are so many great Inquisitor themed models out there, just go and get those. And further to that, even though this is very clearly a loyalist Inquisitor team, you could do a heretical Inquisitor team, or you could do a Xenos Inquisitorial type team. I mean, me, I'm, you know, hey, I'm a Xenos lover. I would love to convert, you know, the 12 core operatives in this team into some sort of Tau diplomatic detachment. And then for all of the ancillary support you take, each one would be a different allied race that they can take. So like the Kassakin might be Kroot, the Exaction Squad might be Vespids, etc, etc. But I don't have time, so if anybody out there does have the time and the willpower to do that, slide into my DMs, let me know, I'd love to see it. Talking about proxies, conversions, etc, the only thing you really need to know is that every model here is essentially just basic human size for GW, and they're all on 25mm basis apart from the gun servitor that is on a 32mm basis. So, you know, amazing kit bash potential, but also I think it really does have to be said, the first true list building team in Kill Team. Before, I suppose the most complex team, if you want to view it that way, is Warp Coven, and they've never been a particularly powerful team, and so they've never really truly been dug into by some of the top players. But this team, whew, even though one of the abilities it gets is Inquisitorial Mandate, where you get to increase your roster size from 20 to 30, you are going to fill that 100%. Now I will add to that I think that the roster is antiquated a little bit, and for a previous version of Kill Team, I think it's not needed at all, and I would actually say that it should just be removed. There should be no limit on a roster. But I suppose to whet your appetite, I will say that when you take your ancillary support, they lose their faction keyword, and they lose their abilities. So, you know, Kassakin don't get elite points, Breachers don't get Breaching Clear, all that stuff. But also just a minor addition, if the raw number, or if the idea that you can fill up a 30-man roster and still have other rosters you will want to take into a tournament one day is scaring you, do not worry, there is 100% a default pick for this, which I will cover at the end of this video, or of course if you don't care, you just want to see the default pick, because you're about to put the models together, check the timestamps below. And the last little bit of summary here is that from a power level perspective, I think that this team is going to have both a very high floor and ceiling. So I think we are going to see a team that has a pretty low win rate, but a pretty high podium rate. I think that because of the options and flavor this team provides, we are going to see quite a few top players playing them, assuming the balancing is correct on them. You never quite know. Okay, well with that said, let's jump straight into the operatives. But of course, before we do that, I would like to give a quick subscriber-only benefit, which is a double hello. Well, so Wholesome, what is a double hello? Great question. Well, it's a pleasantry that is given to you twice. I think that's quite evident from the name. And why would I give this to you? Because I just like to let my subscribers feel pleasanted. Yep. Hey, if you like what I'm doing here, consider liking, subscribing, leaving a comment. I also have a Patreon if you want to support the frivolous activities that I perform here. I also have a secondary channel called Full Scale Wargaming, which is a little bit more, fewer releases, but hopefully a little bit more effort going into each one. I do a bit of Kill Team, a little bit of Star Wars Shatterpoint, but it's really going to become a 40k 10th edition channel. Okay, with that said, let's crack on. Oh, sorry, there's a giveaway. If you go and watch, hey, there is, obviously right now you're watching the Inquisitorial Agent Kill Team overview. There's also a Chaos Cult Kill Team overview, and on top of such, there is also an overview of Ashes of Faith, which covers the narrative and little summaries, but there's a giveaway if you go and look on that video. Go there, you'll find out how to get the narrative pieces for Ashes of Faith for free. Okay, let's dive into it. Operatives. So you have 2 that you must take, which is your Interrogator and your Tome Score. And then you just pick 5 from Auto Savant, Questkeeper, Death War Veteran, Enlightener, Gun Servitor that has either a Heavy Bolter, Multi-Bolter Plasma Cannon, a Hexist, a Mystic, a Penal Legionnaire, and a Pistolier. Now, I will cover all of these in just a moment, obviously. The very quick thing I want to say is the Gun Servitor is easy to magnetize if you want. However, it is the only possible model that could ever possibly have any of these loadouts. So if someone is legit saying you must magnetize it or give it the Heavy Bolter, the Multi-Bolter, or the Plasma Cannon, tell them to go away. You could just run it. I built mine as a Plasma Cannon. If anyone tells me I can't run it as a multi-melter, I won't play them. There you go, cool. We then get to the ancillary support. This is a little text box here that's just telling you, hey, when you take one of these ancillary support dudes, they come in as, they lose their keywords, their faction keyword. So a Kaskin is no longer the faction keyword Kaskin, it is instead the faction keyword Inquisitorial Agent. You can't use any of their ploys, you can't use any of their equipment, but you can interact with all of the keywords found in here, so the ploys, the strats here, will work with the ancillary support. On top of the things we're about to look at, there's Sisters of Silence and Tempest of Silence. Tempest of Silence, never take them, there you go. They have been outclassed, which we will talk about once we get to their data sheets. There's also Sisters of Silence. Great, awesome. Sisters of Silence are a great addition to this team. I think that they are something that we probably will be taking. Nice. If we turn La Page, we get to Exaction Squad, Kaskin, Imperial Navy Breaches, Veteran Guardsmen. To summarize this team and how this works, essentially, you can take 5 of them, 5 of them, 6 of them, 6 of them, and you can take half a team. So, 5 Kaskin, normally Kaskin can take 4 gunners. Here you can take 2 gunners. 5 Exaction Squad, normally you can take 4 Riot Shields, now you can take 2 Riot Shields, etc, etc. That's roughly how these work. Obviously the exacts are here. This here is where you are going to come up with the real list building potential of this team, because maybe you decide that into certain matchups you have to take the Exaction Squad, but actually you don't need the Cyber Mastiff and the Vox Signifier, so you want to have a full squad instead of just the 5 that you might take, and then the Navy. It's going to be pretty complicated, so we'll just leave that as is. We then get to the Tac Ops. C's for interrogation, you kill a dude, and then you pick up the token. There you go, that easy. No witnesses, table your opponent. Yeah, I know, right? Investigate lead, perform an action on an unactioned point 3 times. So very roughly, no witnesses is a total snowball. You cannot ever guarantee you're going to table an opponent, so that's kind of a no. Investigate lead, why would you want to action on a point 3 times? C's for interrogation, seems a bit of hassle. Honestly, because you have access to all 4 archetypes, you probably won't take these. There you go. The Inquisitorial mandate, obviously, you know, this is, as mentioned, the roster slots are increased to 30. Personally, I think the roster's outdated, but it is what it is. We get to the Strat Ploys and the Tac Ploys. Strat Ploys first. So, Denounce. Delay an enemy operative activation by D3 activations once per battle. Intense Scrutiny. Enemy ops count as having an engage order at 4 inches instead of 2 inches. Quarry. Select an enemy op and your entire team gains balance against it, and if you then kill that model, you can put your quarry kind of ability onto another model of your choice. Irrefutable Jurisdiction. If you're within 4 inches of an objective marker, you can reroll a dice in defense. We then get to the Tactical Ploys. All of these are 1 CP, by the way. I'm going to sneeze. Embedded Agent. This is in your scouting step. You get to pick and reveal your scouting step after your opponent, or you get to reveal a second scouting option. If you really wanted to, you could use this twice, I believe, but I don't think you would. I think this is really for when you 100% need to decide whether you're going first or second, or if you 100% need that second scouting option. We then get absolute authority. When an opponent uses a strat or tac ploy, stop it from happening. Nice. And they don't get their CP refunded. So basically, it can't be used on a CP reroll, but apart from that, if the enemy ever uses a 2 CP strat, you pop that. This is also going to stop some real killers, and you just learn per faction when you're going to pop that. For example, commandos, it'll always happen on their just a scratch ability, etc, etc. Relentless in pursuit, sorry. After an enemy falls back, you can immediately perform a free action, which basically means you can either dash or shoot, in reality. The Emperor's Will, this bad boy right here, ignore any modifiers to all characteristics, so movement or APL negatives, typically. We then get onto the operatives. Let's crack on. Warcom has already showed both the Interrogator and the Tome Skull. So basically they just walk around, and you want to keep them, whoever has the Sanctification in as many, and whoever has Denunciation you want to keep within range of as many of your own models as possible, and whoever has Sanctification you want to keep within range of as many enemy operatives as possible, and you can swap them around if they ever get mixed up. So if they have Denunciation, that's going to be +1 to the attack characteristic, and if they have Sanctification, that'll be -1 to the enemy attack characteristic when you're within 2. And now I know what you're thinking, and yes, Denunciation gives the potential to have our first ever 7 attack dice roll. And who does it go to? That's right, oh what a surprise, the most balanced team in the game, Navy Breaches with their Las Volley. Absolutely top-notch decisions there. The Auto Servant, an old school model harkening back to some beautiful John Blanche artwork, John Blanche work, if you will. This guy is very interesting, I would say, but he's going to take a little bit of finesse to work correctly, as he will just die to a stiff wind. So the Auto Savant is an old school model that every time the opponent uses a ploy for the second time, excluding CP rerolls, you gain 1 CP, and he can hold a selected objective regardless of enemy APL on it. Oh, and a 4-up save, unlike the rest of the team. Questkeeper Agent, 1 attack if killed, 5-up feel no pain. If you attacked, gain balance. Aside from that, he's very much the mercy of 4 dice hitting on 4s, so GG with that one. Deathward Veteran Agent, charges from Conceal, nice, and has once a turn just a scratch, very tasty. If you have a reroll available against a 7-wound model, then the knife is something you might want to consider. You know, it's hitting on 2s with lethal 5-up, but it just has the 1 attack dice. Probably should be called something like the Gambler's Knife, because, you know, it's 1 attack dice, so you can always just roll a 1 and you're screwed. The polearm is going to be what you normally use. It's still a great weapon. Well, for a normal human, that is. Enlightener Agent. If someone tries to fall back on a dice roll, they can't, and they don't get the APL refunded. Very nice. When you fight in combat, if you roll a crit, the enemy counts as injured for the rest of the battle, regardless of any other rules. Very cool. Gun Servitor, 4-up save and 11 wounds, APL 1, unless he is activated within 3 inches and visibility of another friendly operative. He can take a heavy bolter, multi-melter or plasma cannon. The heavy bolter is just a standard heavy bolter, but the multi-melter is a melter without a range restriction, but it is heavy, and the plasma cannon is just a plasma gun, but has blast, circle, and is also heavy. Hex Assist Agent, really interesting one here. He shuts off rerolls in 6 inches, and for an AP, removes a unique action or ability on an enemy's datasheet. For example, you can stop a comms from commsing or a medic from receiving, or reviving, sorry. Or, for example, a cryptech from cryptech actioning. Very cool tech piece with this guy. You'll probably want to find a way to run him in most games. Mystic Agent, standard icon bearer of +1 APL on points, then has 2 psychic actions it can give out, guidance or protection. They are mutually exclusive, I will point out, you can't pop them both. Guidance is retained a failed attack dice as a success within 6 inches of this operative. Protection is retained a failed defense dice as a success within 6 inches of this operative. Minor note, do consider how this will interact with Sisters of Silence. Not only can this operative not perform these actions when within 6 inches of any of the Sisters of Silence, but even if he could, those sisters would not be able to be affected by it regardless. So although this is a good guide to take, if you're going to run Sisters of Silence, maybe reconsider. We then get the Penal Legionnaire Logen. A hand flame is pretty nice on a team with middling ballistic skill, let's be honest. He can't be affected by stun or any other modifiers to his characteristics. And if you fight any model that is below their starting health, this guy gets Relentless, which is a very cruel indeed. Finally, we have the Pistolier Agent, who's an absolute boss and you're taking him every single game. With the best plasma pistol in the game, because it has scoped plasma pistol, so it can shoot long range, but for slightly less damage, or normal range as standard plasma pistol, with both standard and supercharged. He also has a suppressed auto pistol, which has silent, which is a nice option to have. I don't think you'll ever really use it, but you never know, right? You ignore any modifiers to his ballistic skill, due to the Pistolier ability. And you can Pistol Barrage, which is just shooting both pistols at the same time, which is sweet. We then go to the Sisters of Silence. These are the same as they are in the compendium. The only real thing I can say here is adding 5 models to your team with power armor, 8 wounds, and literal power swords with 4 attacks, 3 ups, 4/6 lethal 5 is top tier. Then get to the Scions. Now, I'm not going to say too much. Let's just say that they have been nerfed to a 4-up BS, which does seem to be in line with the way 40k 10th edition is going, not going to lie. Interesting. But they are now just strictly worse than Kassakin. Great conversion material for Kassakins if you don't have the Kassakin box, I will say. Just need to go onto a 28mm base and they're good to go. Finally, with equipment, it's all pretty standard. Smoke, stuns, frags, cracks. Probably always take a servo skull, I guess. Very simple. Okay, and at the end, let's give the default build. You know, it's pretty obvious from what I just said there, but I do want to say it very specifically. So I will read it from my phone. This is, if ever a team should not have a default build, it's this team. But at the same time, because of the theme, everybody loves the Inquisition, right? It's such a thematic thing within Warhammer 40k that we're going to get presumably quite a few thematic players who aren't maybe as tuned in to playing the game but still don't want to get stomped maybe. So I think a default build is actually very mandatory. So to start your journey with these guys, you know, you have your mandatory Interrogator Agent and Tome Skull. You've got to take that. I then think you should build from your box an Auto Savant, a Death World Veteran, a Servitor with Plasma, a Mystic, and a Pistolier. Cool. Then, for your ancillary support, I say keep it as simple as possible. With those 7 models, you've got a lot to think about. Don't make it more complicated for yourself until you decide you want to start really digging in to all of the ancillary supports. Just take 5 Sisters of Silence with power swords. You really can't go wrong. And then you'd play Quarry and chaining it across an entire team, very possible with the Sisters. You get double charges on multiple models and you just, they're gonna go down on me, maybe. Anyway, if you don't like the Sisters, consider going Kassakin, and then you take the comms, the plasma, the sharpshooter, the medic, and recon or demo, depending on if you need the demo. Whew, okay, well that was fun, wasn't it? That is the Kill Team Inquisition Agents from the Ashes of Faith. Hey, if you made it to the end of the video, I'd like to give you a big triple hello. Why do you get a triple hello? Well, anybody that makes it to the end of the video genuinely helps my channel. You know, a small, middling channel like mine, the best thing you can do, you know, aside from supporting me on Patreon, my other channel, etc., is just watching the video. It really helps so much, so thank you very much if you made it all the way here. And with that said, you know, hey, if you're interested in the narrative, go check out my Ashes of Faith general review and overview. And thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to also check out the Chaos Cults. I think this is the Inquisition Agents are going to be a really interesting team. And I think it's going to take a long time until people figure them out. But I genuinely think that just running 5 Sisters of Silence as ancillary support is probably a really good decision. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. This has been Andy from Glass Half Dead. I will see you very soon. Bye.